You know the thing.
So the main segment for today's show, Kyle Rittenhouse.
Dude, I can't believe I wore these same clothes all week long for this video. Like, gross. I didn't shower. I didn't move. I didn't move out of this chair. I just got a box under here. I was hoping Ryan can take it outside. It's full of... I don't want to tell you what's in there.
So Kyle Rittenhouse's trial is currently happening, and from what I've watched, it's been a trial. That's for sure. And you know what? I don't want to blow our load too soon. So for those who don't know who Kyle Rittenhouse is, I would find it hard if you didn't, because he's all over the news. He's the kid who killed 2 and injured 1 in the Kenosha, Wisconsin riots while defending himself. I'm going to put emphasis on that word, defending. God damn it, Diego. He is currently being charged with 5 counts of felony and 1 count of misdemeanor. And to tell you the truth, bro, kind of looking at that, the misdemeanor one is probably the only one that they're going to get him on. And I think it's because it was a minor with possession or something like that.
Yeah, because he had his friend buy him the gun, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because at 19 you can still own a rifle federally.
Well, so, and this is
there's
the thing.
some weird things
well,
about
so
that
this
law.
This is the thing is, I know you can own a hunting rifle. In Idaho, you could own a hunting rifle at like 13 or something like that, dude. And I think here you can own a hunting rifle at like
18.
Yeah. Oh, is it 18?
18.
Really?
Shotguns and rifles. You can have it 18.
Really?
You have to be 21 for a handgun and a concealed weapons permit.
Well, that sucks, dude. Then how do you take your kid out hunting with you?
You just give him the gun anyway.
Hopefully the game warden doesn't come by.
under parental or under guardian supervision, I believe it's legal.
Oh, okay.
They just can't own it. It can't be in their name. They can't be walking around with it by themselves.
All right.
So what Kyle Rittenhouse was doing with that rifle is technically illegal.
Okay, that makes sense. Well,
or at least in our state.
Yeah.
I'm not pretending to be from, where is he from? Alabama?
Illinois.
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 You Illinois me when you say that.
Hey. So the question everyone always asks and says on Twitter, why was Kyle in Kenosha in the first place? He doesn't even live there. Well, he lives in Antioch. Sorry, I always have trouble with that goddamn word. Illinois.
It's because they made it up.
It's literally 30 minutes away from Kenosha, Wisconsin. That's like us living in Issaquah, driving out to Seattle, Tacoma. Like,
yeah,
you know, and he lives in a border town. So, and Kenosha is a border town. You know, you could catch a bus there. You know, his mom and he works there.
Do they have buses in Kenosha? Is that something you could possibly do?
You know, in Kenosha, we just use this thing called the Feetmobile.
Yeah, I use my Lamborghinis. Gets me everywhere.
You know those cheese curds. You know, you get a good fart. You know, you get your feet moving a little faster. You know.
It's like a little turbo boost. Should try it when you jump.
God damn
Double jump.
So the reason Kyle was there is because he is a member of what the media is calling a vigilante group called the Kenosha Guard. The Kenosha Guard was a militia group started on Facebook and was deputized by Kenosha police the day of the riot. So they had every right to be there. And that means he was a deputized member of this group.
Literally with all the rights of a police officer.
Yes. And a statement taken from their Facebook group, and I tried to find it. I had to take the word of the Kenosha Daily or whatever it is. The statement is, quote, "The group's goal is to recruit any patriots willing to take up arms and defend our city tonight from evil thugs." End quote. And that's exactly why Kyle was there. He was there to help. Period. So here's a video that proves
there
this.
Really to defend. I think his first priority was medical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And we'll see this in this clip.
What are you doing out here? Obviously, you're armed, and you're in front of this business we saw burning last night. So what's up?
So people are getting injured, and our job is to protect this business, and part of my job is to also help people. there's somebody hurt, I'm running into harm's way. That's why I have my rifle, because I need to protect myself, obviously. But I also have my med kit. We're protecting from the citizens, and I just got pepper sprayed by a person in the crowd.
So you had non-lethal, but you didn't respond.
We don't have non-lethal.
So you guys are full on ready to defend the property.
Yes, we are. Now, if I can ask, can you guys step back? Medical, EMS right here. I'm an EMT.
Yeah. What a good kid, dude.
Yeah.
He looks, what is it called? When you don't actually like know what's going on around you, just kind of be relevant to it. He looks innocent is what he looks like.
He does look really weird with that rifle. He looks like a child.
Yes, he does.
And he is. He's freaking 19, right?
He was 17 at the time.
Oh, he was 17?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
So they really did break some laws.
Yeah. With that misdemeanor, that's why I said earlier, that's really the only thing there. You know? Anyways. But
you know what? The argument could be there.
What?
The reason that we don't allow people under that age to have rifles is because they are not capable of making the right decision of when to use them.
Yeah.
That could absolutely be used against them.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that.
Yeah,
'cause it sounds like they missed that
Oh,
point.
yeah. Well, but that wouldn't.
I should be a prosecutor.
But that wouldn't also fall underneath self. That would be outside. That would be the case for the misdemeanor period. So, but it wouldn't be the case for self-defense, which is what they're trying to say that you didn't have.
They could say that like that law is in place because he doesn't have the mental capacity to know when to use it.
I can see that.
And then they could tie it in.
Yeah, residential lawyer dingo.
It wouldn't be a slam dunk. Or anything.
No, but it could be an argument they could bring up, and I can see that.
I wonder if they will.
Yeah. So shortly after that recording, and that was recorded by Richie McGinnis. He's from the Daily Caller.
Richie McGinnis.
Richie,
my boy Richie. Yo, shout out. What's up, McGinnis? Leave us a comment, like and subscribe. We're desperate.
So Kyle would run into the first person he killed in self-defense, Joseph Rosenbaum. And to kind of give you the state of mind of where Rosenbaum was at that night before he ran into Kyle, here's a clip.
Hold on. So, that night, would you say he dropped Rosenbaums?
God damn it.
Oh, I can't believe it came out of my mouth. It's on the internet forever. Oh,
God
why did I say that?
damn it,
It had to
Dingo.
be said.
You here for me? No, you ain't. Cause you be going back to work. Why you do that, dog? Get me out of here. Get me out of here. What you mean? It do matter. It do matter though. It do matter. Hey, somebody control that. Shoot me. You wanna fight?
Hey! They want us to break down!
We gotta stick together. We gotta stick together. Everything you got. Shoot me, nigga. Shoot me, nigga. Bust on me, for real.
Yeah. So that was him, his state of mind that night.
I can't believe liberals are protecting him.
Yeah, no,
when he's dropping the N-bomb like that.
That's the definition of white privilege, if it's a real thing. That right there.
Oh, 'cause he's just screaming it in a crowd full of black people.
Yeah.
Black people are backing him up.
Well, yes, yeah, because he's on their side.
Oh yeah. All I want to do is blow up a gas station, man. Why'd you put the fire out?
You know, man, and it's just like
Actually,
if you were there,
I'd be mad too.
If you were there really, if you were there really because you wanted to put your voice, make your voice heard because that guy who rightfully got shot, because he was wielding a knife, you wouldn't be picking fights like that. You would have been like, you got mad, whatever, you got an altercation, you would just leave.
Yeah.
Because now what you're doing is you're escalating it to become a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
And you're asking people to shoot you.
Yeah. At that point, is that not consent?
Hey. Damn it, Tico. So, before I get into the next part about Joseph Rosenbaum, I'm not saying he deserved to die, but the world's probably a better place without him. And here's why. And of course, he has a decent rap sheet, assault with the weapon,
They always
possession
do.
of drugs,
They always do.
The normal stuff, Dingo.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's got that. Right? Who doesn't have a decent rap sheet?
And who am I to throw stones at a glass house?
Oh, I know, man. I mean, you should see my rap sheet. Indecent exposure, indecent exposure, indecent exposure, indecent exposure to an animal, indecent exposure, and I kidnapped a squirrel.
Oh,
I also ran a stop sign when I was 16. One of those is true.
we're not going to tell you which one. So, there are some other charges that I didn't say, and that are super unforgivable. So, on December 16th of 2002, Joseph was charged by a grand jury with 11 counts of child molestation and inappropriate sexual activity around children, which includes sodomy of minors.
Wow.
Yeah. And the victims were 5 boys ranging in the ages of 9 to 11. And I did
a serial boy rapist.
Yes. And I did the math. Those boys are now in their late 20s, if not early 30s.
You know what would have changed everything?
What?
If we had Zuckerberg's augmented reality and that had come up on somebody's screen and they just started shouting it, he raped 5 children. He'd be gone.
Yes.
Nothing would have escalated.
Yeah, no.
He'd probably get truck fucked with a skateboard before Kyle Rittenhouse had.
Well, and you know what, dude? Not to get too far into this, that day, because I don't show it in the trial clips, but that day he just got released from a mental hospital as well. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. This guy's not a danger or anything.
Yeah.
Jesus, Kyle.
So shortly after his attempt to push a dumpster lit on fire into a gas station, and his aggressive choice of words, he runs into Kyle and starts to chase him.
Oh,
and as he chases him, he is then shot dead. Here's the clip.
Do you think he tried to sodomize Kyle?
You know what, dude? There was a tweet that was talking about this, and the guy tweeted, "Well, at least he died doing what he loved." Chasing
boys.
Yeah, because he's 17, he's underage, a minor.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
I was like, damn, dude.
Fucking light.
Put pressure on it. Put fucking pressure on it.
Where, dude? Where? Where's the hole?
Wait, where are you at?
Get the
He's
fucking
right here
mask
in his head. In his head. Come on. Put pressure. Put pressure. Put pressure.
Call the police. Call the police.
Hey, keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. You shot him.
I didn't.
Hey, you're okay. You're okay.
Let me talk to him.
You're okay.
Dude, that's not gonna help shit. Keep pressure on this shit. Yeah, but you gotta keep him alive. Hey, bro. Just talk to me, bro. What's your...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, man, and it makes me sad that had to happen, but I don't feel sorry for Rosenbaum. I feel sorry for McGinnis having to be there and witness that happen, and I feel sorry for Kyle for being put in that situation.
I also feel sorry for all the people who stumbled onto that situation.
Yes.
Because, of course, the first thing they're going to assume is, okay, there's a guy on the ground bleeding to death who's been shot in the head. They don't know what happened, so they're just going to assume shit, most likely because they're Facebook educated and stuff, and they don't know how to ask questions. But mob mentality.
Yes. No, and that's exactly what happened. So what you don't see there is from Richie McGinnis's camera, which that's held by the police, so I couldn't get anything of that because I wanted it. But
okay.
They are asking him, like, did you shoot him? Did you shoot him? He goes, no, I didn't shoot him. I didn't. And somebody swings at him as he's trying to help this dude out. Yeah. Swings at McGinnis, tries to, and then McGinnis, and then he says it in the court trial, as they're getting him to the truck to take him to the hospital, somebody swings on him again, and McGinnis has to fucking like kick and get away from the dude, and then he jumps in the back of the truck, and the truck takes off.
Stupid
mobs.
Dude,
they were going for him, dude.
Stupid mobs. But anybody who's ever been a part of that mob mentality, you should be ashamed of yourself. That's like ancient medieval times lynch mob kind of shit, and it's dumb. It is the dumbest part of the human existence.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Okay, you go to a protest. That's called a riot. That's called mob mentality. Get the hell out of there. The minute that happens, you're in a cult.
Well, and that's just that thing, is the mob mentality, because now you have a kid, now well, watching this next clip that's going to come up, you hear him saying, get that dude, and they're talking about Kyle. They're like, cranium that dude, and then dude, and everybody's tracing him. Now he's running in fear, trying to make it to the police station, and then we'll watch it here
to
later.
The motorcade.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
To the Bearcats.
Which passed right by him.
Yes, at one point, yes.
Crazy.
So, in this clip, and
I saw this before this was news, by the way.
Yeah, oh, really?
You knew that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Liveleaks.com.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man, dude, so before we continue on, sometimes when stuff like this is happening, I need to remember that I need to make recordings of it, so that way I'm not combing the internet for these later on down the road when it's just buried.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
And once we have our server up and running, we'll download them all, and we'll have an archive.
So, but according to Richie McGinnis, who was the guy who ripped off his shirt and was helping Rosenbaum at that time, he said that once Kyle turned around, Joseph lunged at him in an attempt to get his gun. And now you can barely hear it in the background because everything's moving so fast. I was trying to tell you when it happened. I could barely hear it. But there was a guy to the left of Kyle that lets off a shot in an attempt to stop everybody in their tracks and to get people to stop, or maybe to stop Kyle because he was part of the other people. But his name is Zeminski, and Zeminski was picked up by police later that night and admitted he had fired a warning shot in an attempt to stop everybody. Now, what I'm thinking is if Zeminski, if he would have not fired that warning shot, Kyle probably would have kept on running and wouldn't have stopped to turn around and look at Joseph Rosenbaum, and Rosenbaum wouldn't have been able to try and reach for his gun, and he probably wouldn't have killed Rosenbaum, and Rosenbaum would still be alive.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know, man. Like, this speculation, but it's just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you're probably the reason all these events that are about to happen after this, that event and then the rest of them, is because of you.
Because you had some mental hospital patient running around attacking people and trying to blow up a gas station. And for some reason we're prosecuting this kid.
Yeah. It makes no sense, man.
It doesn't.
But
it's because it's national news and the people demand a trial so they know what happened.
Yeah. And like I said, that speculation obviously didn't happen. So Kyle, after realizing he killed someone, like I was saying in the clip, he took off running to the police zone, and then is seen, as seen in the first clip, and he attempts to make it to the cops, but he is being chased by a crowd. And then within that crowd is Gage Grosskreutz, and Anthony Huber. Now, just a real quick background on Gage and Huber. Anthony Huber is a convicted felon.
Of course.
He was charged with in 2012 with strangulation and domestic abuse.
Woman beater, nice.
And he almost killed somebody. And Gage, on the other hand, is the only one that doesn't have a criminal background history. And I'm going to say he doesn't because using a firearm while intoxicated, I don't see that as something illegal. But you know what? I couldn't find anything on it. So.
I don't think that's illegal in our state. That's got to be a state thing.
Yeah. So now these two are nowhere near the monster that was Joseph.
And Anthony.
You know, and Anthony Huber didn't deserve to die, but you know, people make bad choices in life. But the choices you make in life have consequences, and the choices these two made that night ended badly. But here's a clip.
So this is when they're chasing him down the street with the skateboard and stuff?
Yeah. Oops, not that one.
He just shot them. Hey, dude right here just shot them. Dude right here just shot all them down there. That dude just shot them right there. That dude right here. Here.
Someone injured straight ahead.
It's just something that we've been seeing this. I think our whole country's freaking sick of these protests that aren't. They're riots full of criminals who are out there just to do damage and to attack people for their individual rights, saying that they need to be part of this mob mentality that's going on with these liberalism movements and this wokeness movement. It's terrible that he was forced into this position when he was out there as a medic.
Yeah.
But thank God he had that rifle.
Yeah, dude.
Because who knows what Rosenbaum
was going to do to him, dude. And
the guy was
I
literally psychotic.
I didn't point it out in the video where Rosenbaum was being super aggressive, but there's a guy in there that Rosenbaum actually has a beef with because he's the guy who put it out. He's dressed exactly like Kyle. The only difference in between him and Kyle is Kyle's wearing pants and that guy's wearing shorts. So I guarantee you, once he saw Kyle, he immediately thought it was that dude. Because I even thought it was Kyle at one point, and then he started chasing Kyle. You know, so
you think it was a case of mistaken identity?
Oh yeah, because dude, like, there's this guy. I'll show it to you after it,
Okay.
but like. There's this guy, and you see it in there, dude. Like, he looks exactly, because I thought it was Kyle, and I was like, "That's Kyle right there." And then, but I didn't notice.
Like, no, it's not.
Yeah, because he's wearing shorts and Kyle's wearing jeans, but it looks exactly the same, dude.
Wow.
You know, but I don't know, man. He probably shouldn't. Rosenbaum shouldn't have been there. Period.
No, he probably should have still been in the hospital.
Yeah. Yes. But so there's the background of what happened. So, and I myself, completely self-defense is what I think. And I think context matters. And thanks to everyone who was out there risking their lives to film these riots in Kenosha, gives Kyle a fighting chance.
Yeah, and I'm glad you guys made it out of there in
Yeah.
one piece.
Yeah.
Even though one of you videotapers thought you knew what was going on. You're yelling, "This guy just killed a bunch of people." Like,
Well,
did you see what was going on? Did you see him get truck fucked in the back of the head? You recorded it.
So, and
by the way, anybody who doesn't know what a truck fuck is,
Yes.
it's a very vulgar term for the trucks on the bottom of a skateboard.
Mm-hmm.
Hitting somebody in the head, it is considered lethal, and it is lethal.
Oh, dude. So because we're getting into it, the judge, the defense says trucks on it. He goes, trucks? What are trucks? And he goes, oh, it's like it's where the wheels are at on the skateboard. He goes, oh, the wheels? We just call those wheels when I was back skateboarding back in my day. And he goes, yeah, they're called trucks. He goes, oh, okay, so the wheels. It's just like,
But it's actually not the wheels that do damage because those are nylon. It's the axle that's made of corrugated steel. But whatever.
Dude, it's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
So
why didn't you just say £? What's a hashtag?
So we're now in the 5th day of the trial of us recording this, and we'll continue to the 6th day on Monday, which puts us on the 7th day once this is released. So just to kind of give you guys a frame of reference here. And just like the first episode we recorded like 8 months ago, the George Floyd case, when we were covering that trial, everything is coming from legalinsurrection.com. And these guys know how to cover a trial, dude. Like,
I love those
Oh,
guys.
dude, man, like all the video I poured through on the trial, hours and hours, these guys just like, they know how to just narrow it down to the facts and give you a good representation of how that day went.
Yeah.
And they're lawyers too. So they're lawyers that do a podcast that practice, so they're very insightful.
Good.
Yes.
Very good at what they do.
And if you guys want to go to legalinsurrection.com, you have to make a username in order to get into their site, but it's just, I'm sure, just so that way there's no griefers coming in there and messing around,
Oh, I'm sure they have enemies.
Yes.
Especially with what they said about the George Floyd trial.
Yeah. But so day 1, opening statements and witness testimony. So we're going to watch the prosecution make their opening statements, and same with the defense. And
Take
I don't.
the good, you take the bad, and there you have my opening statement. Sit, Dodo, sit. Good dog.
God. So, I don't know what it is about the states around the Great Lake and their prosecution, but every single one of them that we've seen so far sucks. Like the DA.
I mean, we've really only seen 2.
Yeah, but still. you think
there's correlation, there's a pattern going on.
Yes. And the only thing that saved the prosecution in the George Floyd case is that everyone was ready to put Derek Chauvin in jail. Like, it didn't matter whether he was guilty or not. And you guys heard my stance if you watched it. I don't think he was guilty of anything but maybe manslaughter. But I don't think he deserved. No. Anyways, that's the conversation for a different time.
Indeed. You could ask a Great Lakes area prosecuting attorney, hey, did you pass the bar? And he'd be like, nah, I suck at limbo.
The dingo. So, this prosecution is starting to look like the last prosecution. It's
You mean the George Floyd prosecution?
Yeah, that's what I mean, man. It's kind of dumbfounding, just the way he opens up his thing. But let's just give it a watch.
Okay.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The evidence in this case will show that on the night of August 25th, 2020, here in our community of Kenosha, the defendant Kyle Rittenhouse, who was 17 years old at the time, had armed himself with an AR-15 style semi-automatic rifle loaded with 30 rounds in the magazine. And using that rifle, he shot and killed Joseph Rosenbaum, an unarmed man. The shot that killed Mr. Rosenbaum was a shot to the back. This occurred after the defendant chased down Mr. Rosenbaum and confronted him while wielding that AR-15. The evidence will show that the defendant fled the scene of the dead body of Joseph Rosenbaum without stopping to offer any aid whatsoever. And as he's running, word spreads from the crowd on the street that there is an active shooter running through the area. And the citizens there attempt to stop him. They approach the defendant. One person hits him in the back of the head. One person takes a swing at him with a skateboard. That individual is Anthony Huber. Eventually, the defendant loses his balance and falls to the ground. An individual who is the subject of count number 2, the unknown individual, runs in at that point and attempts to kick the defendant in the face while the defendant is on the ground. This unknown individual is unarmed. The defendant, in response, points his AR-15 directly at this individual as this individual is literally flying over his body and discharges that gun twice. Luckily, that individual was not hit. But clearly, if he had been hit, the wound would have been severe and perhaps even fatal. Immediately after that, Anthony Huber, who is holding a skateboard, comes in and reaches for the defendant's gun. He grabs hold of the gun and tries to pull it away from the defendant. The defendant is wearing his AR-15 strapped to his body. There is a nylon strap around his entire body, and the gun is slung from that, so it is essentially attached to him. Mr. Huber's efforts are unsuccessful because of that strap. And in that struggle, the gun winds up pointed directly at Mr. Huber's chest. The defendant pulls the trigger one time and discharges a round into Mr. Huber's chest, killing him instantly. A final individual by the name of Gage Grosskreutz has followed this chase on foot and has approached the defendant at this time. Mr. Grosskreutz is holding his cell phone that he'd been using to record the night's events for a live stream on Facebook in one hand, and a Glock semi-automatic pistol in the other hand. He runs up to the defendant. The defendant turns towards him with the AR-15. Mr. Grosskreutz raises his hand. The defendant then turns his rifle over, begins to examine it for a second. Mr. Grosskreutz takes this opportunity, and you will see in the photos and the videos that he blades his body with his left hand, reaching towards the defendant. His right arm is pulled back. This is the one with the gun in his hand. And as he's reaching for the defendant turns the AR-15 and discharges the 8th and final round into Mr. Grosskreutz's right arm, the arm with the gun. Mr. Grosskreutz runs off, screaming for a medic. The defendant gets up and walks away. On that night, he killed 2 unarmed people, shot at a third at very close range, and wounded Mr. Grosskreutz in the arm, who was armed with a gun. It is the state's position that this evidence demonstrates the criminal charges against the defendant. And the judge has given you an instruction, which I want to highlight here, because there are some factors that I'd like you to keep in mind when you hear the evidence in this case. The defendant used deadly force. There is a privilege under our laws to use deadly force, but it's a very limited privilege. That privilege, according to the law, indicates that the defendant can only use deadly force if he reasonably believed that the force was necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm to himself. In determining whether or not those beliefs were reasonable, the standard is what a person of ordinary intelligence and prudence would have believed in the defendant's position under the circumstances that existed at the time of the offense. The reasonableness of the defendant's beliefs must be determined from the standpoint of the defendant at the time of his acts and not with the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah.
So just the way he's talking and the things he's saying, it makes me kind of feel like maybe they didn't have time to actually review, because there's more than 40 videos and audio recordings and stuff to sift through. It almost makes me feel like he didn't have a chance to get to all of them.
Yeah, well, no, and this is the thing, dude, is he explained everything that I just explained, the whole timeline. And if I'm sitting there, I wouldn't. If I was the DA, I wouldn't even be explaining the timeline. I would just be kind of saying what I'm going to make a case of in this.
Say what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Say it. Say what you said.
Yes. And he repeats himself and repeats himself and repeats himself. And then he explains the timeline. And then as a juror, if I was a juror, I'd be like, oh, so that sounds like self-defense. How are you going to prove this? I've already made up my mind. By what you just said, you explained the timeline.
Yeah. No, it was... It was foolish. It was full of misinformation. It was full of what is it? It was obfuscated truth.
It felt like he was,
or like he was unarmed. Yeah, why aren't you considering the skateboard a weapon, which he had already used?
Yeah,
once.
Well, and it's
as a weapon,
like, but it just felt like he didn't have. He needed to fill up some time, so he made a point.
Well, they only get 2 minutes, right?
No, 30 minutes. That was
30 minutes.
Yeah, I
for
think
opening
35.
statements?
Yeah, 35. You get. I think you get like up to 45 minutes or something like that.
Jesus.
But
I have half a year of business law, by the way. Okay. It's a little
so he
different
sits there,
over
but he keeps on repeating himself. He makes this point, then repeats himself, and he's like, and I didn't leave it in there, but he keeps on pointing at Kyle. He's like, Kyle is the only one that killed somebody tonight. And then Kyle is the only one that killed somebody that night. Kyle is the only one. I was like, dude, how many times are you going to say it?
Yeah.
Like,
we know he killed somebody. The question is, if you were paying attention, did he kill him legally in self-defense? Which God, if these videos incriminate that kid,
yeah,
that's a sad, sad day for gun ownership. That means, fuck it. If you use a gun and to defend yourself, you're going to prison.
No, man, and I would say that I would be really scared for Kyle if this happened. The trial happened like right after it happened, because everybody
like
was
with George Floyd.
Yeah, because everybody was bloodthirsty for vengeance.
It did, but the trial didn't happen until now.
Yeah,
but it was right at the same time.
Yeah,
it was
well,
after
yeah, that's
George
what I'm saying.
Floyd.
But if his trial it was that like corresponding with Chauvin, I think I'd be really worried for him, especially with the way we saw Chauvin's trial go. It was like I'd be like, ooh, people are out for blood, man. Like, you know.
See, you know what? You know what's crazy about this and drives me nuts, and I think this is weird. Is all I saw were two videos on liveleak.com.
Yeah,
which is no longer around, by the way.
That sucks.
Yeah, that does suck. So much for unbiased newscast. Just you make your own decision.
WikiLeaks is gone.
WikiLeaks is gone. Yeah, dude, man.
Yeah.
Sad day for information. Sad year for information. But when I saw those two videos, I had already made my decision. Like, it was very cut and dried. And it came with a little information that he was a deputized, or I'm sorry, that he was part of a militia. I didn't know they were deputized by the police, which is...
Well, it makes a big difference. They're just not there being vigilantes. They're deputized.
Yeah, exactly. You're not a vigilante if you're deputized,
Yeah.
so you can't call them vigilantes. Washington Post or whoever the hell that was.
It was Washington Post.
It was? Yeah, makes sense. They suck. But anyway, when I saw these videos, it was just so obvious. The defendant, Kyle Rittenhouse, made an attempt to get away. People chased him down anyway. He fell to the ground and was in a prostrate position.
Yes.
People attacked him with weapons. He shot in self-defense. That is end of the story. That is the definition of self-defense.
Not even that, Dingo.
But the fact that he made an attempt to run away.
Yeah. Well,
these people.
Well, not even that, dude. When he falls down...
He even made an attempt to run from Rosenbaum. It's on video.
When he falls down, he's calculated shooting. He's not just anywhere. It's boom, 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 dude. And then the guy runs up, hits him, and he's just like boom, and then he stops and looks at him, and he goes like this, and he just stops on it. He looks at his gun.
So he stops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he looks at his gun, and he sits there and starts messing around with it.
And did he shot him? No, he shot him in the gun arm.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I wish at 17 years old I had that kind of
it's fucking killer shot, dude. Killer shot.
Yeah, no stray bullets, nobody injured.
No.
Well,
and even with
wasn't a target.
Even with Rosenbaum, when he's shooting, there's only 4 shots, and it's boom, 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 and it's done. And he doesn't keep on shooting. He stops because he sees him down on the ground.
He immediately gets on the phone.
Yes.
Like, I mean, he had his wits about him.
Yes. Poor kid, man. So the opening statement for the defense was very heavily organized and well researched. And the prosecutor in the trial, when I was watching it, even complains to the judge that there's too much information inside of his opening statements. And if he would have known that the defense was going to be this thorough, he would have made a more aggressive statement for himself. So it just kind of shows me, it's like, So you're complaining because you didn't do your job.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here's a clip of the of the defense making the prosecution
in
look bad.
every court of law, your opening statements and closing statements can contain whatever you want.
Yeah.
Except obviously outright lies.
Yeah. So
Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence will show, in spite of what the media and public statements and things like that have been, the evidence will show that Kyle Rittenhouse had strong ties to Kenosha. His father lived in Kenosha. His mother lived in Antioch, Illinois. Kyle worked here in Kenosha County at the Recplex in Pleasant Prairie as a lifeguard. He went downtown to clean up the graffiti. Him and Nick left there, and they decided to come back that evening and help Car Source Lot 2, which is at 59th and Sheridan, and initially Car Source 3 at 60th and Sheridan. And when they were doing that, they met other individuals who had come to town at the urging of websites and things like that, and then just a general, I would say, distaste for the destruction. And those guys from the West Bend area, Ryan Balch, Lukowski, Joanne Fiedler, agreed that they would all help protect the Car Source lots. And initially, they went to the lot at 59th early in the evening. You as jurors will end up looking at it from the standpoint of a 17-year-old under the circumstances as they existed on August 25th of 2020. And Mr. Binger makes a big thing out of Kyle Rittenhouse was the only person who shot somebody that evening. True. Mr. Rittenhouse was the only person who was chased by Joseph Rosenbaum that evening. This is Joseph Rosenbaum. And what's important in this photograph is, one, it will allow you to identify him throughout the course of trial. Notice the belt, the baggy, lengthy jeans, and there will be a fair amount of testimony, I'm sure, regarding the maroon shirt. He's obviously currently wearing it. Mr. Rosenbaum was at a location, and Mr. Rosenbaum had, along with other individuals, started a dumpster on fire. And when somebody put that dumpster that was very close to a gas station out, Mr. Rosenbaum became enraged. I'm going to go back. Is the sound on?
Everything you got, shoot me, nigga. Shoot me, nigga.
That's just a brief snippet of that interaction. And he was upset, and he's yelling that he wants to be shot. And you'll see individuals in the full video, which you'll see in the course of trial, holding him back, trying to stop him from getting at an individual who is dressed with a baseball cap, an AR rifle, and long pants. Excuse me, short pants, who looks very much like Kyle Rittenhouse. Here's Mr. Rosenbaum during the evening. Him and his friend or associate, Joshua Zeminski, had just come from starting a trailer on fire. He arms himself with a chain and goes up and down Sheridan Road, carrying this rather heavy chain used to tie down equipment. The videotape of this event. Kyle's got his medical bag, his gun, and he comes upon these three individuals. And the individual in the yellow pants accuses Kyle Rittenhouse of pointing a laser sight from a gun at him. Kyle shrugs it off, does not want confrontation with these individuals, does not point his firearm at them, and he leaves. Why does he leave? because he doesn't want trouble. These are the three individuals who were with Yellow Pants. One individual is carrying a noose. I don't know what that's for. The other individual, the testimony will be from Kyle Rittenhouse and Richie McGinnis, had rocks in his hands. And then the blue-shirted individual was carrying a 9mm firearm. Richard McGinnis will tell you about the marauding nature of these individuals. He was so intimidated by them after Kyle walked away that he had to give up 2 White Claws to him to settle him down and some cigarettes so that he would be able to leave them. And a few minutes later, at approximately 11:45, he receives a phone call from Dominic Black. Dominic Black informs him, the evidence will show, that they're breaking windows and starting fires down at Car Source 3. Go and stop them. He asks an individual for a fire extinguisher and asks the individual to go down to Car Source 3 with him. The individual gives him the fire extinguisher but does not go with him. And Kyle heads down to Car Source 3. He doesn't know that Mr. Rosenbaum is down there. He's been asked to go down there by Nick Smith. He heads down Sheridan from 60th, walking to Sheridan and 63rd where the Car Source is. That's a picture of him from a video leaving the Car Source at 11:46 p.m. approximately. He has his firearm, and he has, as you can see in his other hand, a fire extinguisher to put out the fires that are being started down there. You'll hear testimony, not just from Kyle Rittenhouse, but Balch, Mr. Balch, about Joseph Rosenbaum stating to Kyle and to Ryan Balch in each other's presence, if I get either of you two alone, I'm going to kill you. Flat out threats to murder. When Mr. Rosenbaum is shot in the Car Source Lot 3, there's been a gunshot behind Kyle. He turns to address Mr. Rosenbaum with his firearm. Mr. Rosenbaum is not deterred. He continues to run. And you'll see that on numerous videos, closing the distance. Mr. Rosenbaum could have stopped at any time. Mr. Rosenbaum is wearing that maroon shirt on his face as a mask, covering up his identity, because he wants to steal my client's firearm and use it against him to carry out the threat he had made earlier. That isn't just the word of Kyle Rittenhouse made up after the fact. You'll hear the testimony of Richie McGinnis, who was close that evening. He was following behind them. You'll see him on the video. He'll testify to you in court. He did not feel endangered. He was doing his job. He will testify that Joseph Rosenbaum let out, as he put it, one of the scariest screams I ever heard, yelling, "Fuck you," and dove for Kyle Rittenhouse's gun. Kyle Rittenhouse fires. He fires 4 shots at Joseph Rosenbaum. The state wishes to slow everything down into a microsecond. Those 4 shots, the evidence will show, took 0.76 of a second, 76 hundredths of a second from first shot to last shot. And I believe that the state will want to say, why did he go down there? He went down there because Nick Smith asked him to. Why didn't he keep running? 1, you don't have to run. But 2, I'll show you a video from 63rd looking back onto the Car Source lot, taken by an individual who will testify and his daughter. Next photograph, circled again. Zeminski with the arm up, Rosenbaum in full stride chasing, and an arrow pointing to Kyle. This is the video from 63rd and Sheridan Road.
Oh shit. They shooting. Oh shit. Oh my god. I am.
You'll see that whole video during the trial. The individuals were at Car Source, the rioters, destroying all of those vehicles. And as Kyle was running from Mr. Rosenbaum, he did not want to run into those rioters who were destroying all of that property that did not belong to them. You hear the first gunshot, the evidence will show Mr. Zeminski. You hear 4 shots in quick succession. The evidence will show that is Kyle firing at Mr. Rosenbaum as he's trying to take Kyle's weapon from him to use against him. I think the evidence will show why Kyle Rittenhouse didn't stay and render aid for Mr. Rosenbaum. Not that he's under any obligation to do that, but sometimes discretion is the better part of valor.
He fucking shot him! Get him there! He fucking shot him! He fucking shot him! He fucking shot him!
Take screenshots. That dude shot him. That nigga just shot that dude! Cranium that boy! He just shot him, man!
The individuals who are yelling, he just shot him, shoot him, and you can see one of them with a gun, Mr. and Mrs. Zeminski. He begins running down Sheridan Road. He's not taking his gun. He's not threatening anyone as he's running down Sheridan Road. He's running in a southerly, I always get my directions confused, a northerly direction from 63rd towards 60th. What is at 60th? The evidence will show that is where law enforcement is, and that's where somebody would run to be protected from a mob that wants to kill him.
So yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
I don't think he was running for protection. I think he was running to inform and to be like,
yeah,
shot some people. Some things need to be figured out, and you guys need to get down here and do your jobs.
Well, no, that I'd be scared. Like, all you're hearing is people telling them to get you. Some guys yelling, cranium that dude.
Cranium
that dude.
That's not a verb, bro. Not only are you dropping N-bombs, white boy,
you're
but,
using ebonics? How dare you?
You can't verb a noun, okay? I'm too cool for school. Maybe you should go cranium yourself a little bit. Maybe enlarge your cranium. Do some studying.
Go to a library is what Dingo's saying.
Go to a library.
Library?
No, library. I prefer library.
Ryan would be, if Ryan was here, she'd be like, it's library.
Oh, really? She get weird about that?
Oh, yeah. She's a grammar snob.
Well, let's come in here and be like, you got to cranium yourself at the library.
It's like when I say Nevada, she goes, it's Nevada.
It is. It's Nevada.
Yes,
that's how people from Nevada say it.
The New Yorkers are the first English, and they say Nevada, so that's the way it is.
I have no argument for that.
And then you got people that say Washington. They're just dumb.
Yeah. They need to wash their mouth out with soap, because that just, who says that? Who puts an R in Washington? I would never say Washington. I wouldn't be caught dead on the internet saying Washington, even though I'm from Washington. But.
So Binger, the prosecutor, is the assistant DA, and you would think in a high-profile case
was
like
the guy
this,
talking?
No. So that was the defense. That's for Kyle Rittenhouse.
Oh, I'm sorry, the prosecution.
Yeah, the prosecutor. His name is Binger, and he's the assistant DA. And I would think that with a high-profile case like this, you would have the A team. You would have the actual attorney general there and not the B team backing this up. And so it feels almost like the attorney general himself is like, "Ugh,
I don't want to touch it.
I want a winning record.
That looks sticky.
I don't have a blemish on my record, guys. You guys need to take the fall here.
You know, and I have a theory about this.
Yeah.
Now, first off, because it's so high profile and because there were videos that I'm proof of this went viral long before anybody even caught on in the news media, I knew who Kyle Rittenhouse was, and I had seen these videos. Well, some of them. When it's this high profile, you have to put the truth out, and the only way to put the truth out is to find it within a trial.
Yeah.
So perhaps part of the reason that, as we're going to get into, it looks like the defense is kind of dropping the ball is because they know Kyle Rittenhouse shouldn't be in prison for this.
The prosecutor.
I'm sorry, the prosecution knows that Kyle Rittenhouse shouldn't be in prison.
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I like to think that. I like to think that the state is sometimes required to do things. They have an obligation to do
whether
things.
they don't agree with it or not, he's just like, shit.
But so they're like, we have to go through this. We're going to do it because we have to. But don't worry, kid.
Yeah.
We think you're right, too.
You see, here in Kenosha, Wisconsin, we got this thing called self-defense, and it kind of looks like he was self-defending himself. But since we're the DA, we're just gonna have to make this case.
You know who you sound like? You sound like that Mexican guy he's always
Why? Because I'm brown?
No, he's always taught. Hold on. He was in John Wick. He's in John Wick. Hold on, I'm looking up the cast. He's the guy who. You killed his dog? Oh, you killed his dog?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
You killed his dog? Oh, that's really cool. John I never knew his last name. Leguizamo?
No, John. Fuck.
Leguizamo?
No, it's why am I forgetting how to say? Now you're making me forget how to say his last name.
Leguizamo? Leguizamo?
And there's people listening to us right now. They're like, "It's that you fucking stupid fuck."
Anyway, you sounded, spot on. Oh, you killed his dog? Oh, that's cool, man. You killed his dog. Yeah.
And just to kind of make.
And yeah, it's because you're Mexican.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. To kind of like bring this more in the open of how the assistant DA had lack of preparation. His opening was 34 minutes long. All right. And then the defense, with all the information they brought and all the images, the videos, and everything they were playing was about 40 excerpts. Their opening statement only took 39 minutes. So it was like a 4-minute difference in between what he was saying, what they were saying. They brought more condensed stuff in that amount of time than that person did. It was very airy. I didn't show a lot of his stuff because it was just him repeating himself. There was nothing there. I was like, bro.
Kyle Rittenhouse is the only one who
shot somebody.
Masturbated in public that night. He's the only one who blew a load in public that night. He's the only one. Did really nobody else died that night?
No, dude. Nobody else got shot.
Even with all those guns and gunfire going off.
No. So a lot of what happened, a lot of those sounds, dude, were people throwing off firecrackers. So that didn't help. People throwing off firecrackers didn't help. It's like, what are you doing? Like you're making the situation worse because people with guns think there's gunfire going off here, dude.
And that's the thing. And that's the problem with all of these quote-unquote protests. These kids think protests are riots. Well, you know why fireworks aren't allowed in city limits? That is exactly freaking why. Because the cops don't know if that's gunshots or what.
Not. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It's not because of fires. There's plenty of big-ass parking lots you can go shoot off fire. We do it all the time.
Especially if they're black hats, dude. Like, pop, 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 pop.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Like, there are reasons for order, and there's this huge group of society that thinks that these protests are a reason to go out and riot. And then you find out, oh, so-and-so got hurt. And then you find out they had this huge, long criminal rap sheet.
Yeah.
I lived on the other side of the freaking fence for a little while. I don't mind admitting it. I've done some things that I'm not proud of for a long time. I don't have a criminal rap sheet like these people do. In fact, I ran a stop sign when I was 16 once. That's it.
Oh, some might say, Dingo, it's because you have white skin.
Where's your criminal rap sheet then?
I don't have one.
It's
I think when I was a kid, I got in trouble for marijuana.
Exactly.
What kid doesn't do that?
Well,
What kid?
and I did, but well, actually, my buddy Rob is the one who took the fall. They were like, "Who's gonna claim the weed?" And he was like, "I'll do it."
Yeah, there you go. Good
I
for
was
your
like,
buddy.
my bro did time for me 2 days.
You want to know what really makes an area a good place where people who don't have criminal rap sheets that do dumb stuff but they don't have a background is good police officers that know the area and that know the people that can be like, you are acting like a dumbass today. We're not going to sit here and prosecute you because we know who you really are.
Yeah.
You know, and that's more of a thing. It was like
it's a small town thing too.
Yes.
Because I mean, obviously in Seattle, the SPD.
Yeah, they don't know anybody, man. It's huge.
Yeah, they have no idea who you are. There's millions of people,
and there's tons of homeless people running around. They're seeing people at their worst all the time. Yeah,
we have an excellent police force.
Yes,
here.
we do.
But on the other side of that, these people, when you look at their rap sheets, I'm sorry, that one guy. Strangulation and
dude,
domestic
that's
violence.
a bad one, dude. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. You know what? Sometimes domestic violence, it could be you just
That's
yelling
not good
at your
paper.
Well, but
you will get raped in prison with that paper.
Well, domestic violence could be you had an argument with your wife. You know,
right? But
the strangulation.
Dude, like,
that's
and
a
the
hard
other
one
guy,
to defend.
the Rosenbaum, who died. 5 counts of sodomizing.
No, 11 counts.
11 counts of sodomizing children under the age of 11.
Yeah.
Boys.
Yes.
All boys who are going to be weird inside for the rest of their freaking lives.
Oh,
he had rights.
Kyle Rittenhouse dealt out justice for those kids right then and there. It was street justice, but he dealt out some justice right there.
Is it justice if you don't know you're dealing out the justice?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not.
It's probably just fate.
Yes.
Which is a form of, because I mean, in the end,
karma did.
In the end, justice comes to us
all your decisions end up biting you in the ass at some point. Now, it doesn't mean biting you in the ass. All your decisions,
but it's going to come full circle.
Yeah.
Everything does.
Yeah,
be it good or bad.
Yes. So the first witness is Dominic Black, the friend who purchased Kyle's rifle, and he also gave him a strap to hold the rifle so that way he's not constantly holding it, which helped him tremendously when he was approaching the police officers.
Oh, because he was able to put it behind his back and put both hands up.
Yes. So, what else here?
There's nothing scarier, I'll tell you that. There's nothing scarier than approaching a police officer when you have a gun. You're like, okay, what do I do? Hands up his forehead. Just go grab it. Go ahead. You can take it from me. Just take it.
The safety is on.
Yeah.
The safety is on.
Shoot me.
Let me holster this real No. But anyway, and not much was brought to the table by the prosecution. The prosecutors seemed to consistently bring up if Black had shot anybody that night, or if he had seen anyone other than Kyle shoot anyone that night, which the answer was always no, obviously. The prosecution is trying to make the case that amongst all the chaos and confrontation, Kyle was the only one who couldn't control himself.
And that's not bad.
No, it's not. But if you watch
but it's weak.
Yes, it's very weak.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very weak. So the defense, on the other hand, got Black to agree that Kyle did not attempt to flee the state after he killed 2 and injured 1, and promptly turned himself into authorities.
Literally.
Yes.
Right away.
Yes. And I'll say this. I don't think they picked him up right there. He then...
Oh, they drove by him. Even that cop that was pulled over drove away.
Yeah, so even after that...
In the video I saw.
So they didn't pick him up right there. His mom urged him to come back home, and he's like, no. And... on his way back home, he stopped off at his local police department and said, hey, this is what happened. I need to turn myself in. So he did make his way back home, but on his way back home, he made sure to stop by the police department and said, hey, this happened. Nobody, they're too preoccupied with what's going on over there. This is what happened. So they took him underneath arrest.
Oh, they did?
Yes. But he made 2 attempts to turn himself in.
See, and I wonder if some of his, let's call it, privilege came from the fact he was deputized.
Yeah.
So when you are deputized, I imagine police officers look at you like a police officer who didn't have the benefit of going through training. So you are taking a real risk being out there.
Yeah.
And they probably really appreciate it.
And the other thing that the defense also brought to light is with Black there being for his testimony is that Kyle was there to provide medical care and help put out the fires that night. You know, and he said that's exactly what he was there to do. Video confirms that.
Mm-hmm. And provide medical.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and then Black was dismissed from the stand, and the next witness was a FBI agent. Sorry guys, Brandon Cramen. Yeah, Cramen. And nothing was really brought up there other than he testified that the drone footage that they showed in the trial was actually FBI footage and not altered in any way. So, and then the last witness for the day was Corey Washington, and Corey Washington was basically there to provide eyewitness account of the chaos that night. So, that ends day 1. Day 2. So, according to Legal Insurrection, and everything's pulled from Legal Insurrection, guys, go to their website, sign up for an account. They do really good work when it comes to legal stuff. And according to them, it was another ball drop for the prosecutor. They were unable to show from their witnesses and evidence they provided that Kyle did not act in self-defense, which their whole goal is to disprove self-defense. So they're doing a really good job.
Yeah, just great. It's going to be like the Chauvin trial where they're like, just ignore the video.
Yeah.
Just ignore the video.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which they did.
Ignore all the drugs that were in his system that made his heart stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, something I found odd is that the Detective Martin Howard, who was one of the witnesses brought up this day, has only been in his position as a detective for 3 years that day. So that means he was given the Kyle Rittenhouse case almost a year and a half into his new position. Now, Dingo thinks he should be competent at his job. I don't think that's enough for this high-profile case. I think there should have been a tenured detective on this, making sure everything's running right. That's just my opinion. But
yeah, I just kind of feel like, you know, after 3 to 6 months on a job, you get it.
Okay.
And not only that, if you became a detective, it's because you have a proclivity for it, and somebody saw that.
Okay,
like,
yeah, and you know,
so
I can't argue against that.
I don't think you make a bad point though, that like perhaps assign your best.
Yeah,
but maybe this guy is the best. I mean, I don't know how small.
Because we don't know. We don't know about Wisconsin. We don't know about Wisconsin.
Is the highest tenured detective.
No, in Wisconsin, we just can't seem to keep our detectives around. my accent's just slipping there. So when Wisconsin. So when watching the cross-examination from the defense for Howard, what the fuck was that?
It got stuck on my foot and I couldn't get it off.
So he said something that sounded interesting, and we'll play it here. So
all right, let's do it.
In this case, you got numerous individuals' cell phones, either through consent where the person said, I have nothing to hide, here, have my cell phone.
Yes.
And there were some times where you talked to people and you said, look, if you don't let us have consent, we're going to have to get a search warrant, but you're not leaving here with your phone unless we've downloaded it, correct?
Something to that degree, yes.
Yeah, and I'm not faulting you, I don't care, okay? But it's an investigatory technique that law enforcement uses, correct?
Correct.
Consent, search warrant, one or the other.
Yes.
And you hold the phone so that if they don't consent, nothing can be destroyed, deleted.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If they consent, you have somebody in your department whose main duty is downloading cell phones.
Yes.
There are some cell phones that are not, if I use the wrong word, crackable.
Correct.
Okay, and that means that unless you have the exact finger code or a fingerprint or something, it can't be opened, correct?
Yes, Mr. Rittenhouse's phone was on the latest iOS, and there was not software available at that time.
Okay, iOS stands for?
It's an Apple update.
Okay,
for an
but
iPhone.
it's an operating system. It's a type.
Yes.
Okay. And back in 2020, when you seized Mr. Rittenhouse's phone, you wanted to get in the phone. You immediately sent it to the FBI so that it could be opened or cracked, and they told you they couldn't do that, correct?
Correct.
And myself and Mr. Rittenhouse found out about that, correct?
Correct.
And we said, you want to get in his phone? We'll give you the code as long as we get a copy of whatever you take, correct?
Correct.
And those arrangements were made, and his phone was downloaded.
Correct.
So there's nothing hidden.
Correct.
Now, in this case, you got a search warrant on September 24th. I apologize. In this case, on September 23rd of 2020, you got a signed search warrant from Judge Wagner for Gage Grosswitz's phone, correct?
Correct.
And that was in preparation for a meeting that was going to occur on September 24th between yourself, Gage Grosswitz, his lawyer, and members from the district attorney's office, correct?
I believe that to be correct, but I was not able to attend that meeting.
Okay, who attended it?
Detective Antaramian, and I'm not sure who else.
Okay.
But
The meeting was in person?
yes.
Okay, so search warrant in one hand, correct?
Yes.
Telephone of Mr. Grosswitz, presumably in Mr. Grosswitz's hand.
Yes.
And for some reason, that search warrant was never served on Mr. Grosswitz and his phone taken, correct?
Correct.
So you have a video from Mr. Grosswitz's phone, correct?
Correct.
But you don't have the download of his telephone, correct?
No.
And you wanted the download of his phone, correct?
Yes.
You wanted the information that was in that phone.
Yes.
You had a search warrant to get all the information in that phone,
Yes.
and yet you didn't execute it.
No, I did not.
Okay? Do you know why it wasn't executed?
Concerns with Marcy's Law?
Who had the concerns with Marcy's Law?
Several of us did. I did. Attorneys did.
When you say attorneys, you're talking about Attorney Binger, correct?
Correct.
Marcy's Law is the Victim Rights Amendment, correct?
Correct.
And have you ever not executed a search warrant because of Marcy's Law?
No.
Okay, this is the first time ever.
Yes.
Is it the last time ever?
I can't foresee the future. But
Since that date, September 24th of 2020 to today, have you ever not executed a signed search warrant by a judicial officer of Kenosha County because of some concern of Marcy's Law?
no.
Yeah.
Point exactly that he's making there. I kind of lost
Yeah,
him.
yeah. No, I understand. So, so basically, what he's saying is that however you say his name, Grossenkurtz. Yeah. So
or
that's
whatever.
the
Yeah.
guy who ran up on Kyle and got his bicep shot, right?
Yeah.
So, but he was recording at the same time that whole time in his process of meeting Kyle, and they watched the video of that, and everybody else's phones that were from that night, they served search warrants to get the footage
Right.
on there.
Yeah, I caught that. And
Yeah.
then for some reason,
So
Grosskreutz or whatever.
yeah, so out of they even took McGinnis's. So he would be considered a victim as well.
Oh, and he was acting as a journalist
Yes,
too, though.
yes.
So they absolutely
Yeah.
have
So
rights
so
to
but
that.
so now they've watched what was on his phone, the recording itself. The cop has, and then the assistant attorney general has, and after viewing what was on his phone, instead of serving the search warrant to then take the download to have it as evidence for everybody else to see, they decided, oh, no, this falls underneath this. And he's like, have you ever done that before? Even though
they made a judicial call as law enforcement.
yes, and so now so yeah, dude,
misconduct.
well, yes, exactly, but that also makes me wonder
or
what
not misconduct, something like that.
and that makes me wonder what was on his phone from that recording. So, and I think what was on his phone is it was going to hurt the DA's case for saying that Grosskreutz was a victim, because he's obviously was going to do something that they're saying that he wasn't trying to do.
Yeah,
so
when you say the DA, do you mean the defense attorney or
no,
the prosecuting
the prosecuting,
district?
yeah, the prosecuting.
Oh, it was going to hurt the prosecuting
Yes,
attorney.
yeah. So they decided
okay.
they go, oh, how do we get around this with not taking this and admitting this for evidence? Oh, Marcy's law. So we don't have to take it because now it's hurting his rights. But if it was,
well, that's
the
why
other
we
way
have
around.
the Fifth Amendment.
Well, yeah, but if it was the other way around, they would have been taking it right away.
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
and so they're trying to hide
Something.
potential footage that is going to hurt the DA's case. And that's just speculation from me, but it's like, why? And I think that's what he was making his case of, is like, why did you guys do this? You guys never do this before, and you guys wouldn't do this anyways. Why? Why did you guys do this?
And it kind of, to me, the very first place that my mind goes, I was over at the log, right? And I'm standing out on the front on Sunset, right, smoking a cigarette out in front of the bar. And across the street, there's this guy at the police station yelling. And I think it was Officer Hall. And I think Griffin might have been there. But anyway, this guy is stumbling around the police station yelling. And one of the cops approaches him and says, hey, man, are you okay? What's going on? And he's just like, fuck you, fuck everything. And he's like, just, hey, man, it's okay. I'm just saying you can't be out here like yelling like this. You're scaring people. It was actually really cool. It was really cool. And the guy's like, fuck you. And he's like, okay, man, okay. And he's like, get away from me. And he's like, all right. And he backs up. And he's just like, can you please just quiet down for me? And then finally the guy like tackles the cop. And the cop like swings him around and throws him on the ground. And I've already pulled out my phone and started recording. Unfortunately, my phone died.
Oh.
And I was going to try and email it to him. They asked me about I was like, hey, I caught the whole thing. Oh, shit. No, I didn't.
No.
Anyway, whatever. But when I told them that like I had this recording on my phone, but that my phone had died, I was not required in any way to like, give them my phone or leave it with them. They just asked me, could you please email that?
Yeah,
to
of course.
us? At this time, had they taken my phone, there is a high likelihood that it would have been a bad thing for me. An incredibly high likelihood. In fact, a guaranteed likelihood.
And this is the thing. So with Gage being a victim, you would think Gage would be like, yes, here's the video to help my victim case. But he's not willing to do that. So now they got to get a search warrant for it. And now after viewing the video, they're like, ooh, you know what, man? You're okay. You're protected.
And so what they told me is they were like, you know what? We really don't need it as evidence because it was all caught on the security footage of the
and I'm sure he has
gas
a body
station.
camera too. So
this was long before the body cameras started being a thing. I don't know if our cops have had those for very long. I don't know when they started, but this was like 9 years ago or something.
Oh, really? No.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I recorded it on a flip phone.
So grainy.
Yeah, the Razor. I had a Razor.
You know the thing.